All right, hello YouTube. So welcome back to the Grease Goblins channel. I'm going to continue doing this series of videos. I'm going to be posting every Wednesday at 7 p.m. on the Song of Ice and Fire videos. More focused right now on the Winds of Winter predictions. Also trying to like mix in some theories with those videos as well. So if you'd like to, see some more of that, let me know. Subscribe with notifications on, like, all the sellout type stuff. So yeah, appreciate it if you guys wanted to do that, but if you don't, it's okay. Also wanted to say, let me know what your guys' opinions are on some of these topics. I love seeing, different theories and stuff like that. This is just my opinion. It's not like fact set in stone, but yeah, just my honest opinion. I wanted to do Aegon Targaryen or Fagon and like John Connington's plot line because I just did Daenerys's last week. So if you want to see that, I will link it in the description. But yeah, that'll be there. And because I started to kind of talk about how that plotline I thought could go. In this video, I just wanted to kind of get more detailed in and like specifically how I think certain things will play out. Because at the ends of Winds of Winter, basically, or not Winds of Winter, Dance of Dragons, we have they land. They basically take Griffin's Roost. They take over a couple, places in the Stormlands. Now with that being said, in the sample chapter that we get in Winds of Winter, Arianne actually, they tell, in that story that they've taken Storm's End. Now, we don't know how this is going to happen. I'm assuming this is probably going to be the first chapter we get of John Connington. And I want to start the video there with how I think, or maybe the couple of options of how that gets done. I think like your first option is they might dress up like Baratheon soldiers, say they're coming to reinforce the garrison or something. It could happen. Doesn't seem likely to me. I think the most likely option is what we saw. It was kind of like a preview. Is where basically Davos smuggles Melisandre under Storm's End. I think that could happen again, and then you see something like with the Theon plotline at Moat Caitlin, where the one guy in command is not willing to surrender the castle, but maybe, the others are tired of the siege, because you have to think Storm's End's been under siege for a good amount of time. And probably a lot of these people are going to be like, okay, well, Stannis is all the way at the wall. There's not really a point of holding this castle. They're not getting support anytime soon. Maybe it falls that way. I think it's the most likely way it's going to fall. But yeah, looking at it like that, I think that's probably what's going to happen. Now, Arianne, I don't know how you say it, probably there's a possibility could marry Aegon, which then brings Dorne to Aegon's side, which is a huge boost. I think that probably will happen. I think Dorne will get involved in the story at some point, and I don't think it's with Daenerys because of what happened with Quentyn. So I think Dorne finally, gets into the war. Now, with this being said, they now have Storm's End. They have a really good foothold in Westeros. You have the Dornish support. You have the Golden Company. Aegon and John Connington are looking very powerful right now. And Storm's End is not a very long march to King's Landing. So this is what I started getting into with the Dany video is there's a couple ways I can see this playing out. I personally think Aegon takes Storm's End. They go to King's Landing, and they take it. Or if they don't take it, Cersei does kind of something similar where she just blows up everything. Like, something like that. But I do think Aegon probably takes it and pretty much kills everybody in King's Landing. I just don't see... The only way I can see it not happening is if Daenerys gets to Westeros before he's able to do that. Then maybe you have that conflict there where, the Mummer's Dragon, which... Well, I guess we'll talk about right now as well. So Aegon is actually... There's a really popular theory that he's actually a Blackfyre. That Illyrio's wife was a Blackfyre on the the female line because it's said that the male line is dead. But then we get very big hints that possibly on the female line it could be alive, which kind of makes sense for why Illyrio is kind of constantly like pushing for him and like why he's pampered and stuff on like, which is good because they're training him how to be a king. But it makes so much more sense in that regard. Because you have to think if Illyrio's wife, right, is Blackfyre and stuff like that. That why would you be supporting the Targaryens? The Golden Company are Blackfyres. Doesn't make sense for them to just straight up support a black or a Targaryen. So there's some conspiracy that they all think that he's actually a Blackfyre, that he's the son of Illyrio and his wife, who could have been a Blackfyre. It makes a lot of sense, and personally, I do think that's probably the case, that he is, not actually a Targaryen, he's a Blackfyre. But looking at it from this point of view, which is I think the big thing, I talked about this in the Daenerys video, is Aegon's going to be looked at really well. Because you got to think, Cersei, the Lannisters, Tyrells, all of them have not done a good job of running the kingdom. Mostly Cersei. King's Landing right now is in a terrible state. Aegon coming here, he'll look like a liberator. He will look like a good guy, who's just coming back to reclaim his throne. It's what Daenerys kind of was with Meereen, which I think she's going to get the opposite effect when she actually comes to Westeros this time, or comes to Westeros, because she's coming with a lot of foreign armies, and I think Aegon at this point is probably going to have the throne, and I think a lot of people will be happy with that. Which again, kind of dipping into the Daenerys video is probably going to set her off and want to be one of the main catalysts for why maybe if George goes down the Mad Queen route will be a big factor for me. But if you want to see that again, I talk about it in the Daenerys video. With that, there's also been suggestions, or kind of they've kind of implied it, or George has, there could be a plague, because Jon Connington at this point has Greystone. I don't know if that's actually the correct term, but so basically in the show, if you're just a show only person, basically Jorah gets the Greystone or whatever on, like, whatever, and that whole plot works out. That's actually what actually happens to Jon Connington, because in the books, Jon Connington has that, and he knows he's going to die at some point. He's just looking to take the Iron Throne, and then, whatever. So there's a theory where maybe once they take King's Landing, they actually start this plague because of Jon Connington. And that could happen as well. But looking at, let's say they take King's Landing. So we'll go two different routes. They take King's Landing. I don't know if... I think Aegon dies in this story regardless. I think he probably is going to die because of Daenerys. But with that being said, I think he'd be a great king. But I think he's going to die kind of similarly how they did it in the show, but I think done much better. So if you don't know, in the show, Daenerys basically burns down King's Landing. I could see that happening with Aegon, because, she's thinking, okay, this is rightly mine. He's not actually a Targaryen. Maybe some things happen in between that, that just set her off. That could be one thing that happens. Another thing that could happen is maybe, like I said in the Daenerys video, they all go north. Aegon goes to help. Maybe he dies in that. Maybe after the conflict, then we have problems because Jon's a Targaryen. Well, it's not confirmed in the books, but he's a Targaryen. You have Daenerys, who's a Targaryen. Then you have Aegon, who's saying he's a Targaryen, but he's a Blackfyre. A lot of competing ways where I think Aegon's just not going to end up on top. I think he's going to die to probably Daenerys at some point. But you guys let me know, because I think it's very interesting. He's a very interesting character, and the reason I don't think he's going to end up on top or be any part of the end game of the story is he just gets kind of cut out of Game of Thrones, like the show. And if you're such a major character, why would you get taken completely out? It just seems odd to me. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about all that, because I think it's really interesting, and I would love to see what your guys' opinions are on that. Because maybe I could, down the road, just come back to this video and talk about your guys' theories, and what you guys think maybe might be wrong with mine. But yeah. Also, I wanted to say, towards the end of this video, if you guys want me to do a certain topic, like you want me to do a certain character for the Winds of Winter, or you want me to do a theory, like, for instance, I've done the pink letter basically in my first Game of Thrones video. If you wanted to see that video, I will also, I guess, link that. I'll probably make a playlist if you guys want to see it, where it's talking about most of the North stuff, so Stannis' plot, Jon's plot, Melisandre, all that stuff. If you want to see me do theory videos specifically, I can also do that. But yeah, that is the end of the video. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. We'll be back next Wednesday. If you have a specific thing in mind you'd like me to do, let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys next Wednesday at 7.